The message popped up on my phone like a ghost from a nightmare I thought I'd buried. It's Sarah.
I miss him.
We need to talk. Please. My hand trembled as I stared at the screen, the coffee in my other hand forgotten and cooling. 15 years since the divorce papers, since I'd walked away from our life in that cramped Boston apartment, convinced it was just irreconcilable differences. Her late nights at work, my growing distance. But something in those 4 words clawed at me, a hook sinking deep into old wounds. Why now? I typed back, where? Before I could talk myself out of it. We met at a dingy cafe on the outskirts of town, the kind with peeling wallpaper and coffee that tasted like regret. Sarah looked older, but not in a bad way. Lines around her eyes from laughing, maybe, or crying. Her hair was shorter, streaked with gray she didn't bother to hide. She slid into the booth across from me, her hands fidgeting with a napkin. "Mark," she said, her voice soft, almost pleading. "Thanks for coming. I didn't know if you would." I leaned back, arms crossed, trying to play it cool while my heart hammered like it did on our wedding day. 15 years. Sarah. What's so important it couldn't stay buried? She glanced away, out the window at the rain-slicked street, and that's when I noticed the ring on her finger. A new one, gold and simple. Remarried. The thought stung, but I pushed it down. We were done. Over. She took a deep breath. "It's about Emily. Our daughter." My stomach dropped. Emily was 28 now, living in Seattle with her tech job and her own life. We'd co-parented civilly after the split. Holidays split down the middle, no drama. "She's fine," Sarah added quickly, seeing my face. "But she's getting married, and..." She asked about us. About why we really ended. I frowned. We'd told Emily it was mutual, that sometimes love fades. But Sarah's eyes were evasion incarnate, darting like they used to when she'd come home late smelling of unfamiliar cologne. Wait, had she? Suspicion flickered, a spark in the dark. "What do you mean, really?" I pressed, my voice tighter than I intended. She shredded the napkin now, bits of white fluttering to the table. "Mark, there are things I never told you. Back then, I thought it was for the best." Her words hung there, heavy as lead. I felt denial creep in, that old friend who'd whispered during our marriage that her overtime at the law firm was just ambition, not something else. But now, after all this time, my mind raced back to those nights alone with Emily, her tiny hand in mine as I read bedtime stories, wondering where Sarah was. I left the cafe with more questions than answers, her vague promise to explain soon echoing in my ears. That night, sleep evaded me. I dug out the old boxes from the attic. Photos, letters, relics of a life I'd boxed up. There was a picture of us at Emily's 5th birthday, Sarah beaming, but her eyes distant. And then, a faded receipt crumpled in the bottom. Dinner for 2 at Giovanni's, dated a Thursday when she'd said she was at a conference. I'd seen it back then, shrugged it off as a client meeting. Now, it burned. The next day, I called Emily. "Dad, what's going on?" she asked, her voice warm but wary over the line. I hesitated, then dove in. "Your mom wants to talk about the divorce. Said there's more to it." Silence stretched, then she sighed. "She mentioned something last week. About regrets. Dad, I found an old email when I was a kid. Hacked her account playing around. It was from some guy named Alex. I didn't understand then, but..." My world tilted. Alex. Sarah's colleague, the one who'd always been just a friend. Heartbreak surged, hot and raw, like ripping open a scar. I confronted Sarah over the phone that evening. "Who was Alex?" I demanded, no preamble. She gasped, audible even through the static. "How did you, Emily?" Her voice cracked. "Mark, it wasn't what you think. Not at first. But it was." She spilled it in halting confessions, late nights turning into lunches, then more. An affair that started 6 months before our split, when Emily was 13. "I was lost," she said, tears in her words. "You were always working, and Alex..." He listened. Anger boiled up, eclipsing the suspicion. Listened. While I was home raising our kid. You lied to me, to us. Flashbacks assaulted me as she spoke, the way she'd pull away from my touch, claiming exhaustion. The unexplained charges on our card for hotel rooms she said were for work trips. Clues I denied, buried under trust. I ended it, she insisted. Before the divorce. But the guilt. It's why I pushed for the split. I couldn't face you. Denial shattered into rage. 15 years, Sarah. You let me think it was my fault, that I drove you away. My voice broke, the heartbreak raw, a chasm opening where our memories lived. We met again, this time at our old park, the one where we'd picnicked as a family. Rain threatened, mirroring the storm inside me. Sarah arrived with red-rimmed eyes, clutching a folder. Proof, she said, handing it over. Inside, emails, faded and printed, detailing the affair's end. But also apologies she'd never sent me. I was scared, she admitted, sitting on a bench slick with dew. Of losing Emily, of you hating me. Her motivations unfolded, loneliness in our marriage, my absorption in my job leaving her adrift. Understandable, painfully so, but it didn't erase the betrayal. I paced, leaves crunching underfoot. Why now? She looked up, vulnerable. Emily's wedding. She deserves the truth. And I miss what we had before I ruined it. Tension peaked as I stopped, facing her. You didn't ruin it alone. I was checked out too. Anger softened into sorrow, the collapse of trust complete but oddly freeing. We talked for hours, peeling back layers, until the rain came, washing away some of the bitterness. In the end, I forgave, not fully, but enough. At Emily's wedding months later, Sarah and I stood side by side, not as exes with secrets, but as parents who'd faced the wreckage. As Emily danced with her new husband, I felt closure, a quiet mending. But late that night alone, I reflected on trust's fragility, how one hidden truth can echo for decades. Sarah's call had unearthed the past, but in the ruins, I'd found a way forward. Not together, but healed.